The projector's blue light washed over Chioma Okonkwo's face as she stood before Korea's most terrifying boardroom. 15 executives in identical dark suits sat like sentinels, faces carved from stone. At the head of the table, Kang Ji-woo leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled, watching her with the intensity of a hawk studying prey. Her company, well, her former company as of this morning's acquisition announcement, had been swallowed whole by Kang Corporation. And now she was presenting her marketing campaign to the man who'd just become her new boss. Hey there, friend. Welcome back to another captivating story. If you're new here, please go ahead and like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our next incredible tale. Your campaign, Ji-woo's voice cut through the silence like a blade, is too aggressive. Korean consumers prefer subtle messaging. Chioma's jaw tightened. This was the 5th time he'd interrupted her presentation. She'd spent 3 months developing this campaign, analyzing data from 12 different demographics, testing messaging across social media platforms. And this 28-year-old CEO, who looked like he'd never experienced joy in his entire life, was dismantling her work with the casual cruelty of someone who'd never been told no. With all due respect, Mr. Kang, she began, her Nigerian accent thickening with frustration. I don't recall asking for your respect, he interrupted again. I asked for competence. Something inside, Chioma snapped. She'd moved to Seoul 3 years ago, learned fluent Korean, worked 80-hour weeks, survived casual racism and constant microaggressions, all while sending money home to her family in Lagos. She'd proven herself 100 times over. And she was done being dismissed. She slammed her laptop shut. The sound echoed through the silent boardroom like a gunshot. You know what? Fire me then. The room went so quiet she could hear the hum of the air conditioning. No one moved. No one breathed. In Korean corporate culture, especially in rooms like this, you didn't challenge authority. You certainly didn't challenge Kang Ji-woo. Excuse me? Ji-woo sat forward, and for the first time that morning he looked actually interested. You've interrupted me 7 times, Chioma continued, her voice steady despite her racing heart. You haven't asked a single question about the data, which shows a 340% engagement increase in test markets. You just want to hear yourself talk. You're suggesting I don't understand marketing? His voice was dangerously soft. I'm suggesting you don't understand my marketing. There's a difference. Enlighten me. Chioma planted her hands on the polished table and leaned forward. Korean consumers are global now. They consume Afrobeats, K-dramas are shot in Africa, kimchi jollof fusion is trending in Itaewon. But you're stuck in 2015 thinking. So yes, either trust me or fire me. But stop wasting my time. For 3 long seconds, Ji-woo simply stared at her. Then he turned to his frozen executives. Everyone out. They scrambled to leave, gathering laptops and documents with trembling hands. Within 30 seconds, the boardroom was empty except for Chioma and the man who could destroy her career with a single phone call. Ji-woo stood, buttoning his Tom Ford suit jacket with deliberate precision. He walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's Han River, hands clasped behind his back. You have 2 weeks to prove your campaign works, he said without turning around. If it fails, you're gone. Chioma grabbed her laptop, heart still pounding. And when it succeeds? He turned then, and something flickered in his cold eyes. Amusement, maybe. Or challenge. Then we'll discuss your manners. That evening, Chioma sat cross-legged on the floor of her tiny Gazawan in Sinchon, video calling her younger sister Adiz in Lagos. The studio apartment was barely large enough for a bed, desk, and hot plate, but it was hers. Photos of her family covered one wall. Colorful Ankara fabric draped over the single chair. The smell of the pepper soup she'd stress-cooked filled the cramped space. So let me understand this, Adiz said, her face pixelated on the phone screen. You told Korea's youngest billionaire CEO to fire you? In front of his entire board? Chioma stirred her soup, the spicy aroma making her eyes water. He was being an ass.
Someone needed to say it.
And that someone had to be you? The one person who can't afford to lose her job? Her sister's voice rose. Chi-Chi, we're counting on you. Mama's medication, Papa shop, my school fees. I know, Chioma said quietly. Believe me, I know. Then why would you risk everything? Because I'm tired, Ada. Tired of bowing and scraping. Tired of being perfect and still being treated like I don't belong. Tired of Korean men who either fetishize me or pretend I'm invisible. Her sister's expression softened. Has that guy texted you again? The one from last month? Chioma's phone buzzed as if on cue. She glanced at the message from Jae-sung, her ex-boyfriend of 3 months. I miss your body. Come over. She deleted it without responding. They're all the same, she said bitterly. They want the experience of dating a black woman. The novelty. But when it comes to actually seeing me as a person, introducing me to their families, I'm suddenly too different. Too foreign. Too much. Adiz sighed. Maybe the CEO is different. Chioma laughed harshly. Please. Korean CEOs date models and actresses, not marketing managers who talk back. Besides, the man is made of ice. I don't think he has feelings. But even as she said it, she remembered the way Ji-woo had looked at her in that final moment. Like she was a puzzle he couldn't solve. Like she'd surprised him. Across the city in his 40th floor Gangnam penthouse, Kang Ji-woo sat in his minimalist office, surrounded by glowing screens. Security footage from the boardroom meeting played on the largest monitor. He'd watched it 4 times now. He watched Chioma's face as she challenged him. The fire in her eyes. The set of her jaw. The way she'd stood her ground when everyone else cowered. His secretary, Mrs. Park, entered with dinner on a tray. She was 62, had worked for his father, and was one of 3 people who dared speak honestly to him. You haven't eaten today, she said, setting down japchae and grilled mackerel. Not hungry. You're never hungry. Mrs. Park glanced at the screens. Watching that woman again? Ms. Okonkwo, he corrected. The one who told you off in front of the board? Mrs. Park smiled. I like her already. She's reckless. She's honest. When's the last time someone told you the truth? When's the last time someone treated you like a regular person instead of a god or a bank account? Ji-woo closed the video files. She's talented. I reviewed her previous campaigns. Every single one exceeded projections. Her approach is unconventional, but effective. So, why did you give her such a hard time? Because I needed to see how she'd react under pressure. He stood, pacing to the window. Everyone in this company agrees with everything I say. Even when I'm wrong. Even when I'm testing them. She's the first person in years who's pushed back. And I don't know what to do with that. Mrs. Park studied him with the knowing expression of someone who'd watched him grow up. You're intrigued by her. I'm intrigued by competence. You're intrigued by her, she repeated. And it terrifies you. She left before he could deny it. Ji-woo returned to the screens, pulling up Chioma's personnel file. Nigerian, 26 years old, educated in the UK, fluent in 4 languages. Social media profiles were sparse, carefully curated. No drunk photos, no oversharing, nothing inappropriate. Professional to a fault. But in that boardroom, she'd been anything but careful. She'd been raw and honest and fearless. He rewound the footage one more time, paused on her face as she'd said, "Stop wasting my time." When was the last time anyone had suggested his time wasn't the most valuable thing in the room? 2 days later, Chioma arrived at work to find Kang Ji-woo sitting at her desk. Her co-workers were frozen at their stations, too terrified to even pretend to work. The CEO of Kang Corporation didn't visit the marketing department. Ever. Did you get lost on the way to your ivory tower? Chioma asked, setting down her coffee. Ji-woo picked up a file from her desk. Your workspace is a disaster. How do you think like this? Organized chaos. You should try it sometime. Might make you less uptight. He held up her stress ball, shaped like the African continent. Interesting choice. It's called sentimentality. You might have heard of it. I've heard of it. He stood, towering over her. I've also heard of efficiency. We're moving your office. Excuse me? Executive floor. Across from mine. If I'm going to oversee your campaign, I need proximity. Chioma stared at him. You're micromanaging me? I'm ensuring my investment pays off. His expression was unreadable. Move your things by end of day. He left without waiting for her response. The moment the elevator doors closed, her co-workers erupted. Oh my God, Uni, what just happened? He never comes down here. Never. And he's moving you to executive floor? Do you know what this means? Chioma sank into her desk chair, head spinning. It means I'm about to have the worst 2 weeks of my life. But her hands were shaking as she packed her things. And it wasn't entirely from dread. The executive floor was a different world. Hushed conversations, expensive art on the walls, floor-to-ceiling windows offering panoramic views of Seoul. Chioma's new office was sleek and modern, with glass walls that offered zero privacy. Directly across the hallway, separated by 20 feet of polished marble, was Jiwoo's significantly larger office. She could see him at his desk, typing with focused intensity. He hadn't looked up once since she'd arrived an hour ago. Chioma unpacked her boxes, hanging her Nigerian art prints, placing her family photos on the desk, adding pops of color to the sterile space. She felt his gaze before she saw it. When she glanced up, Jiwoo was watching her from his office window. She waved sarcastically. He immediately returned to his computer. The first week was torture. Jiwoo questioned every decision, challenged every piece of data, forced her to justify every creative choice. But unlike the boardroom, his questions were sharp and insightful. He wasn't dismissing her work.
He was stress testing it.
By Friday, Chioma was exhausted. She'd stayed until 11 p.m. running final numbers before the campaign launch at midnight. Her eyes burned from staring at screens. Her shoulders ached from tension. A knock on her glass wall made her jump. Jiwoo stood in her doorway, suit jacket discarded, tie loosened, sleeves rolled up. It was the most casual she'd ever seen him. "You're still here," he said. "So are you." "I'm always here." "That's depressing." His lips twitched. Almost a smile. "The campaign launches in 40 minutes. I'm aware. Want company?" She blinked in surprise.
Sure.
He sat in the chair across from her desk, and for the first time, they existed in the same space without hostility crackling between them. They watched the countdown timer in silence, the tension shifting from antagonistic to anticipatory. At 11:58 p.m., Chioma pulled up the analytics dashboard. Jiwoo leaned forward, his expensive cologne cedar and something darker reaching across the desk. Midnight hit. The campaign went live across every platform simultaneously. For 60 seconds, nothing happened. Chioma's heart hammered against her ribs. Then the numbers started moving. Engagement spiked. Shares multiplied. Comments flooded in. Within 5 minutes, the campaign was trending on Korean Twitter. Within 10, it had jumped to Japan and Thailand. "Oh my God," Chioma whispered. Within 15 minutes, major Korean news outlets were covering it. Entertainment companies were calling to collaborate. Influencers were creating response content. Chioma jumped up, screaming, "We did it! We actually did it!" In her excitement, she grabbed Jiwoo and hugged him. The moment her body pressed against his, reality slammed back. She froze. He went rigid. They were standing chest to chest, her arms around his neck, his hands hovering uncertainly near her waist. She could feel his heart beating.
Fast.
As fast as hers. "Sorry," she stepped back quickly. "I just got excited." "Don't apologize for success, Okonkwo." His voice was rougher than usual. The way he said her last name, careful and deliberate, made something flip in her stomach. "So," she said, trying to break the tension, "do I still have a job?"
For now.
But his eyes held something new. Something that made her skin feel too tight. "We'll discuss your performance on Monday." "Can't wait," she said sarcastically. "Neither can I." And this time, she was certain he wasn't talking about the campaign. Monday morning, Jiwoo summoned her to his office. The campaign had exceeded every projection. The board was thrilled. Com Corporation stock had jumped 3 points. "Your campaign exceeded projections by 280%, he said without preamble. "I know." Chioma wasn't humble about her skills. She'd earned this victory. "The board wants to promote you to senior director." Her eyes widened. "That's 2 levels up. With conditions." He stood, moving to the window. It requires someone who understands Korean business culture better. I've been here 3 years. And you still tell the CEO to fire you in board meetings. I stand by that. I know. He turned to face her. That's why I'm offering you a deal. I'll mentor you personally. Teach you how to navigate Korean corporate hierarchy without compromising your fire. Why would you do that? He moved closer, close enough that she had to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact. Because wasted potential irritates me. You're brilliant, but you sabotage yourself by refusing to play the game. And what do you get out of this? A senior director who doesn't bore me to death in meetings. There's something else, she pressed. You're perceptive. His expression shifted. My mother is hosting a charity gala next month. Korea's elite. She's been pressuring me about appearing with an appropriate companion. Chioma laughed. And I'm appropriate? You're the opposite of what she expects. Which is precisely the point. So, I'm your rebellion prop? You're a statement. That I choose based on competence, not convention. What's in it for me? Besides the promotion? Direct access to me. Every high society event I attend, you attend. Meet investors, global partners. Build connections that'll make you untouchable in this industry. This sounds like Pretty Woman with spreadsheets. Except you're already successful. And I'm not paying you to be there. I'm paying you to be brilliant. Chioma considered. 6 months. After that, I don't owe you anything. Agreed. And you don't control my campaigns. I have creative freedom. Within reason. Full freedom or no deal.
He smiled then.
A real smile that transformed his face from intimidating to devastating. You drive a hard bargain, Okonkwo. I learned from the best. She extended her hand. He's an uptight CEO who wears the same suit in 3 colors. Do we have a deal?
He took her hand.
His palm was warm, his grip firm.
Deal.
Neither let go for a beat too long. The next day, Jiwoo sent his personal stylist to Chioma's apartment. Minji arrived with rolling racks of clothes, a bright smile, and no pretense. Mr. Kong said you'd probably slam the door in my face, Minji said cheerfully. Smart man. He also said to tell you this isn't about changing you. It's about armor for their world. Chioma paused, door half closed. That's actually thoughtful. He has his moments. Minji wheeled in the racks. Now let's make you untouchable. They spent hours blending Chioma's bold aesthetic with Korean high fashion. Custom pieces that incorporated Nigerian oso oak fabric with traditional hanbok silhouettes. Statement jewelry that honored both cultures. Colors that made her dark skin glow instead of washing it out. You like bold choices, Minji observed. Good. Korean corporate women play it safe. You should stand out. When Chioma looked in the mirror at the final selections, she saw herself. Elevated, powerful, but still authentically her. The next morning, she arrived at the office in a burgundy suit that fit like armor. Heads turned. Conversation stopped. She walked past Jiwoo's office with her head high. 30 seconds later, he appeared in her doorway. The stylist was satisfactory. She didn't try to make me Korean Barbie. So yes. Chioma didn't look up from her screen. That was the instruction. She finally met his eyes. Thank you.
For that.
He looked uncomfortable with gratitude. It's practical. You represent my company now.
Right.
Practical. She smiled slightly. You're really bad at accepting thank yous, aren't you? I'm bad at many things. Like smiling. And relaxing. And admitting when you're wrong. I'm never wrong.
See?
That's exactly what a wrong person would say. The corner of his mouth lifted. Back to work, Okonkwo. But he lingered in her doorway, watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. Over the following weeks, their dynamic shifted. Late nights at the office became routine. Chioma would bring Nigerian chin-chin her mother had sent from Lagos. Jiwoo would pretend to be unimpressed, then eat the entire container. This is acceptable, he'd say. It's delicious and you know it. One night, she fell asleep at her desk, exhausted from a presentation. She woke to find his suit jacket draped over her shoulders, smelling like cedar and expensive fabric softener. Through her glass wall, she could see him still working, now in just his shirt and vest. Her heart did something complicated. Ji-woo insisted on driving her home after late meetings. His car was a black Genesis sedan with leather seats that probably cost more than her yearly rent. She'd connect her phone to his Bluetooth and play Afrobeats. "What is this noise?" he complained the first time. "It's Burna Boy. It's culture." She turned it up. By the third week, he was nodding along to the beat. She caught him and grinned.
See?
"Even ice kings can thaw." "Don't tell anyone," he said. But he was almost smiling. On a Saturday afternoon, Chioma was working from a coffee shop in Itaewon when Ji-woo walked in. They both froze. "Do you ever not work?"
she asked.
Says the woman at a coffee shop with her laptop. He sat down across from her without asking. They worked in comfortable silence for 3 hours, occasionally sharing observations about their projects, mostly just existing together. It felt easy in a way nothing with Ji-woo had felt before. At 2 a.m. one Thursday, Chioma found him on the company rooftop. He was staring out at Seoul's glittering skyline, hands in his pockets, looking smaller somehow. More human. She sat beside him, without speaking. "Want to talk about it?" she asked eventually.
"No."
"Okay." 20 minutes passed. Just silence and city lights and the weight of whatever he was carrying. "My father used to come up here," Ji-woo finally said. "When things got hard, he'd say the city looks peaceful from above. Makes you forget how chaotic it is down there. It is peaceful. You should come up here more. Only if you come with me." She smiled and took his hand. He didn't let go for the rest of the night. The following week, Chioma invited him to her tiny apartment. She'd never been more nervous. "It's small," she apologized as he entered. "It's home." He looked around at the photos, the colorful fabrics, the jars of spices crowding her miniature kitchen. His penthouse isn't. She cooked jollof rice and grilled chicken while he sat at her tiny table and watched. When she served him, he ate like he was starving. "This is incredible," he said. "It's just food, Ji-woo."
"No."
His eyes were serious. "It's care. I forgot what that tastes like." After dinner, they sat on her small couch, barely 6 inches between them. He'd loosened his tie, rolled up his sleeves. She'd never seen him this relaxed. "Why do you push yourself so hard?" she asked softly. "Because stopping means feeling. And feeling means remembering." "Remembering what?" "That I'm alone. That no matter how successful I become, I still go home to an empty apartment and eat meals a stranger prepared." She shifted closer. "You're not eating a stranger's meal tonight."
"No."
His voice was rough. "I'm not." His hand moved to her face, tucking a braid behind her ear. "Chioma, I don't know how to do this." "Do what?" "Whatever this is. I'm not good at relationships. I don't have time for." She kissed him. Just a soft press of lips, testing. He froze for half a second, then responded, pulling her closer with a desperation that made her gasp. The kiss deepened, years of loneliness pouring out of both of them. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Ji-woo rested his forehead against hers. "This complicates everything," he whispered. "I know. You work for me. The board. The optics. I know. We shouldn't. But we are. I don't want to hurt you." "Then don't. What if I don't know how to be what you need?" "Then we'll figure out together." She cupped his face. "But, Ji-woo, I need you to be honest with me. About what you want. What this is." "I want you." His voice cracked. "More than I've wanted anything in years. But I'm terrified I'll destroy this. That I'll destroy you. I'm not that fragile."
"No."
He almost smiled. "You're not." "Stay tonight," she whispered. "Are you sure?" "Yes." They moved to her small bed, and for the first time in years, Ji-woo felt safe. For 2 weeks, they were happy. Stolen kisses in his office after everyone left. Morning coffee delivered to her desk with notes in his precise handwriting. His hand finding hers under the table during meetings. They kept it secret, but Chioma had never felt more seen. Then the board found out. Emergency meeting, Ji-woo's secretary texted him. Chioma wasn't invited. She waited outside the boardroom, anxiety clawing at her throat. Through the frosted glass, she could see Ji-woo's silhouette, rigid and defensive. Inside, the lead board member attacked. We need to address the situation with Ms. Okonkwo. What situation? Jiwoo's voice was ice. Your relationship. It's inappropriate. She's a subordinate. Ms. Okonkwo is a senior director. And my personal life is not board business. It is when it affects company image. There are rumors. Photos from galas. Your preference for foreigners is causing concern among conservative investors.
Concern?
Jiwoo leaned forward dangerously. Or racism. We prefer the term cultural compatibility concerns. The board member didn't flinch. The optics are problematic. We're asking you to choose her or the company. Because if this continues, we'll call a vote of no confidence. And you'll lose everything your father built. Jiwoo said nothing. The trap closed around him. When the meeting ended, Chioma intercepted him. What happened? Not here. His voice was cold, distant. All the warmth from the past 2 weeks had evaporated. In his office, he poured whiskey at noon. Wouldn't look at her. Jiwoo, talk to me. The board knows about us. And? They've given me an ultimatum. Chioma's stomach dropped. Me or the company. His silence was answer enough. Say something, she demanded. I'm trying to figure out a solution. There's no solution. They're racists who can't handle their CEO dating a black woman. It's more complicated than that.
Is it?
Because it sounds pretty simple to me. Either you fight for us, or you don't. If I fight them, they'll remove me. Everything I've built. Everything your father built, you mean? She stood, anger replacing hurt. That's what this is really about, isn't it? You can't let go of his legacy. You don't understand the pressure, he snapped. I understand perfectly. I'm the disposable one. The fun distraction. But when it gets real, when it costs you something, I'm not worth it. That's not fair. None of this is fair. Her voice broke. I've spent 3 years in this country being looked at like I'm less than. I thought you were different. I thought you saw me. I do see you. Then fight for me. Tell them to fuck off. Choose me. I can't. The words hung between them like shattered glass. You mean you won't? Chioma's voice was steady now, cold. She removed her company badge and placed it on his desk. I quit. You don't have to quit. Yes, I do. Because I won't stay in a company that sees me as a problem. And I won't stay with a man who won't fight for me. I need time to think. You've had time. You chose. She walked to the door. Goodbye, Mr. Kong. He let her go. Sat heavily in his chair after she left, holding the badge she'd abandoned, and for the first time in years, Kong Jiwoo broke. 1 week later, Chioma was still in her apartment, sending resumes and crying at night. Her sister called from Lagos. Come home, Chi-Chi, you gave Korea your best shot. She was considering it when she saw the news. Kong Jiwoo announces engagement to Park Min-young, daughter of Park Industries chairman. Her heart shattered. He'd moved on in a week. Jiwoo was drowning. The engagement was fake, arranged by the board to fix his image. Min-young knew the truth. You don't love me, she said over champagne neither of them wanted.
No.
I don't. But you'll marry me anyway? It's what's expected. At 4 a.m., his secretary found him in the office, still wearing yesterday's clothes. Sir, you need rest. I'm fine. You're not. You haven't been fine since Ms. Okonkwo left. He finally broke down. I destroyed the only good thing in my life. For what? A company that doesn't even make me happy anymore. So fix it. It's too late. It's only too late when you're dead, sir. That night, Jiwoo stared at the photo of his father. Realized his father had looked happy in that picture because he'd had family.
Love.
His father hadn't just built a company. He'd built the life. Jiwoo had the company, but no life. He called his mother at 3 a.m. I can't marry Min-young. Jiwoo, we discussed this. I don't love her. And I won't become you and father. Living separate lives. Staying married for appearance. His mother was quiet for a long moment. Your father and I were happy once. Before the company consumed him. Then why are you making me repeat his mistakes? Because I don't want you to be alone like I am. I thought a suitable marriage would. I'm already alone, Mom. But I wasn't. When I was with Chioma, I wasn't. The board can be replaced. All of them. But her? She's irreplaceable. I'm calling an emergency board meeting tomorrow. What are you going to do? Something I should have done the moment they asked me to choose. Choose her. And if they vote me out, I'll build something new. But I won't lose her for a company that doesn't own my soul. The next morning, Jiwoo walked into the boardroom like a man with nothing left to lose. I've called this meeting to address the ultimatum you gave me last week. Have you ended the inappropriate relationship?
No.
I'm ending my engagement to Park Min-young. And I'm formally announcing my relationship with Chioma Okonkwo. The room erupted. Jiwoo let them shout. Furthermore, I'm proposing a new company policy. Relationship disclosure with HR, but no prohibition on relationships between executives, provided there's no direct reporting line. This is unacceptable, the lead board member sputtered. We'll call a vote. You're fired. Excuse me?
You.
Mr. Han. Mrs. Shin. All three of you.
He remained calm.
I've reviewed your portfolios. You've contributed nothing but obstruction for 2 years. You're terminated effective immediately. Security will escort you out. To the remaining board members, he said, anyone else want to dictate my personal life? Or shall we get back to actually running a business? Silence.
Good.
Meeting adjourned. He left immediately, drove to Sinchin, took the stairs 2 at a time to her apartment. Chioma was packing when she heard the knock. She opened the door to find Jiwoo, disheveled and breathing hard. What are you doing here? I fired 3 board members.
What?
The ones who gave me the ultimatum. I fired them. Then I ended my engagement. Jiwoo.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I was a coward. I chose the company because I was terrified of losing the only thing I thought I had. But I was wrong. The company isn't what I have. It's what I do. You're what I could have had. What I threw away. You hurt me. I know. And I'll spend however long it takes making it up to you.
If you'll let me.
Why should I? Because I love you. The words came out raw, unpolished. I'm in love with you, Chioma Okonkwo. You're brilliant and strong, and you make me want to be better than I am. You make me want to actually live, not just exist. And I was an idiot to think anything, the company, my father's legacy, any of it, was more important than you. Tears streamed down her face. You broke my heart. He stepped closer. I know. And I'll spend the rest of my life earning it back. If you'll give me the chance. What if the board comes after you again? Then I'll fight them again. And again. As many times as it takes. I'm done choosing anything over you. What about your father's legacy? My father's legacy isn't the company. It's me. And I get to decide what kind of man I want to be. He took her hands. I want to be the man who's brave enough to love you.
Publicly.
Loudly. Completely. I know I don't deserve another chance.
But I'm asking anyway.
Come back. Not to the company if you don't want. But come back to me. Please. She was crying. He was crying. You really fired 3 board members? Would have fired all of them if they pushed it. You're insane.
About you? Yes.
If we do this, if I give you another chance, things have to be different. Name it. Anything.
You have to talk to me.
When you're scared, when you're struggling. No more shutting me out. I will. I promise. And you have to actually live, not just work. We have dinner together. We take weekends off. He kissed her. Soft at first, then desperate. She kissed back, pouring forgiveness into it. When they broke apart, breathless, she whispered, "Was that you agreeing?" "That was me saying I'll do whatever you want, as long as you're mine."
"Yours? If you'll have me." "Yeah."
She smiled through tears. "Yeah, I'll have you." He pulled her close, holding her like he'd never let go. "Sarangi, Chioma." "What does that mean?" "It means I love you." In Igbo, she replied, "Ahiru mgi ananya." "What does that mean?"
"Same thing."
6 months later, everything had changed. Chioma was chief marketing officer now, reporting to the COO instead of Jiwoo. The company's diversity numbers had tripled. Jiwoo had implemented mentorship programs for foreign professionals in Korea. He left the office at 6 p.m. now. Actually smiled in meetings. His penthouse had photos on the walls, color in the rooms, life in the spaces. They alternated between her apartment and his penthouse. She taught him to cook Nigerian food.
He was terrible at it.
She found it adorable. On Sundays, they hosted dinners that blended their worlds. Her Nigerian friends, his Korean colleagues, everyone eating kimbap with egusi soup and laughing at how relaxed the Ice King CEO had become. His secretary pulled Chioma aside one evening. "I don't know what you did, but thank you. He's human now." Chioma video called her family regularly and now Jiwoo joined. Her father had been skeptical at first. "Young man, you hurt my daughter again, and I'll fly to Korea myself." "Sir, I deserve it. But it won't happen again." Her father had nodded, satisfied. Late one night, they returned to the company rooftop where they'd first held hands. Seoul glittered below them. She wore his jacket over her shoulders. They stood in comfortable silence. "Remember when you said you were bad at many things?"
She asked.
"I recall that conversation. You were insufferably smug. Well, turns out you're good at some things too. Such as? Loving me." He pulled her closer. "That's the easiest thing I've ever done." "Liar. You made it very complicated." "I did."
"I'm sorry."
"I know. But we're here now."
"Yes."
"We are." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. Her eyes widened. "Jiwoo, I'm not proposing. Not yet. You said we needed time and I'm giving you that. But when you're ready, when we're ready, this will be waiting." He opened the box. A stunning ring, fusion design, Korean jade set in African gold patterns. "It's beautiful," she whispered.
"Like you."
"Like us. Two worlds, one story. You're getting poetic in your old age. You're corrupting me."
"Good."
They kissed under Seoul stars, two people from different worlds who'd been brave enough to build a new one together. Hello, beautiful souls. In this story, we discovered that love doesn't erase our differences, it celebrates them. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. And like always, please rate this story on a scale of 10.